stories I tell. Remember that song from the 90s? I mean, Toad the Wet Sprocket. I'm a 90s girl, so I jammed to a lot of 90s music. Um, anyway, hi everyone. I was just popping in on a dreary rainy night or morning, however you look at it. It's like 1:45 in the morning. Just finished up my shift at work, and I was stopping to tell my second story on the way home. Uh, my second spooky ghost story. Um, so I will try to keep this as short as possible, just to give you an introduction of the house. So this is your introduction to the haunted farmhouse that I lived in Ashley, Ohio. So when I was 10, back in 1987, we lived in Columbus, and then my parents moved us way out to the boonies in a little town I never heard of called Ashley, Ohio. The reason that they bought the house, I didn't know at the time. I didn't find this out till later after my dad passed. But this house was only $30,000, and it had like 5 bedrooms, 2-car garage, actually like 2.5. We had 8 barns. Just a ridiculous deal, right? Even back in 87. And my parents wanted to get us out of the city and into what they felt was a safer area than where we lived. So they couldn't pass up the offer. So I remember the day that we looked at the house. It was a really pretty day. My parents took me with them, and I was exploring the area and all the barns, and I immediately loved it. The real estate agent was this guy from the town, and he actually told my parents, he said, people in this town think that this house is haunted. And then he laughed about it. And my dad's exact response was, oh, horse manure. And of course, because he doesn't believe in ghosts, or didn't. So he said that. Then he went on to tell us that it was an old dairy farm, which you could tell it was. The farmer that lived in it passed away in one of the barns, the biggest barn, in like the 40s or 50s. So that's why people thought it was haunted. And he also told my dad that it burnt down around that same time as well. None of this affected him, and why would it, right? Like, you don't immediately think that, even if you're not a skeptic. And, it was just a deal we couldn't pass up. It was really pretty. Actually, I'm going to try, I think I have a photo on my Facebook that I'm going to save an aerial of the property, and I'll try to make that the clip for this video so you can see what I'm talking about with this area. So it was the middle of fields. It was a total culture shock for me coming from Columbus. I went to West Broad Elementary. I walked to school. And then I went to living out in the middle of nowhere where I had to bus to school, and it literally took an hour to get to school because I was like the first kid picked up and the last kid dropped off. One of them. So, total culture shock, among other things. But once we moved in, so, things obviously didn't start happening right away. Kind of minor things started happening at first, which I would say noises, I would always hear footsteps. The electrical was like a big issue. So all the time, lights would go on and off by themselves in a certain room, or sometimes even the whole house. Or the volume would go up and down. Our TV volume would go way up, way down. But one story I'll share, this is going to be like kind of a few really quick stories jumbled into this one story. Because they're all like really fast, you know, they're not long enough, I guess, to make like their own story. So I was getting to, okay, the radio one. So one night I had a friend spend the night that lived across the street. So we had like 6 houses across the street, but nothing beside us or behind us. And luckily, all the kids that lived across the street were all close in age. So we were all really good friends. And we all went to school together and stuff. So one of my friends was over. She was a couple years younger than me. And we were playing My Little Ponies in my room. And I had my radio on as usual. And I had a huge old stereo. If you remember the big knobs you had to turn. It wasn't digital or anything like that. So me and her were sitting there playing ponies. I would guess I was like 11-ish, 10, 11. And the dial started to turn. And so we both looked at the radio and you could see it because there was a huge dial turning the channels. And we both just kind of looked at it and looked at each other like, what in the world, you know? And then it stopped on this really creepy music that the best way I can describe it is if you've seen Children of the Corn, there's like some creepy music in there where these kids are singing and it sounded like that. It was like a choir of kids. It was really creepy. So it freaked us out. We ended up running out of the room and screaming and, you know, told the parents and of course, you know, it's whatever. So that was pretty creepy. And then, so one night, I'm trying to like tell them in order. Like it's hard to do when I don't have notes and stuff written down. But there's just so many little things that happened over the 8 years that I lived there. You know. But anyway, so one time, this is a light out story. One of my friends was over and she was in the bathroom using the restroom and the bathroom light went out on her and it was pitch black in there, you know, nighttime. So it freaked her out so bad that she ran out of the bathroom and like didn't even have her pants up all the way yet because she was so scared, you know, and she was like, I hate your fucking house. Because all my friends knew it was creepy and they all hated it, but they all wanted to come over because it, you know, later, once my parents divorced, there was no adult supervision. So, you know, everybody wanted to come over and hang out at my house. So, leading into the stories. So, later on, my parents got divorced. My mom went back to Columbus. My dad and I stayed in the house. But, here's what really sucked for me, being a kid in this huge creepy house by myself. My dad worked third shift, so I literally lived alone. I didn't see him much at all. Like if he was home in the day, he was sleeping, or sometimes he didn't even come home because he'd go right to his girlfriend's after work. So I literally like lived by myself pretty much after they got divorced. You know, and I had to be an adult like immediately, or at least try. So I had the place to myself and my friends knew it and they, you know, wanted to come hang out, or they felt sorry for me because I was alone and they would just keep me company and stay. So one of the things we liked to do at night was play hide and seek in the dark. That was always a fun thing to do. And these stories that I'm telling are before any partying would have gone on, you know, later in our teen years. So at this point, you know, we're still at the phase in life where you're playing games like tag and hide and seek, truth or dare, you know, stuff like that. And you're still having a good time. So, and that was another thing we would do. Like at night, we would dare each other who could go in that big barn where the guy died, the farmer. My dad would call him Old Man McAllister. I don't know if that was his real name or not. That's what he called the ghost. Even though he wouldn't acknowledge there was really a ghost, he had a name for it. But anyway, so we played hide and seek, and so we would dare at night to see who could go in that barn that the farmer passed away in and stay in there the longest. That was always fun to do because no one could stay in there very long. Usually the kid would come running out screaming and saying that they saw something or they heard something. So we did stuff like that. We would go explore the barns and whatever. So we're playing hide and seek at night, and this time these two particular stories, which I'm going to just jumble into one story because we're playing hide and seek both times that they happened, but they didn't happen the same night. They were, there was quite a bit of time in between them. Couldn't tell you exactly how much time, but they didn't happen like close together. So one of the incidences, we were playing hide and seek. I was not it, and the rule was if we played hide and seek in the house in the dark, you can't hide outside. You have to stay in the house because there were so many places you could hide outside that we would never find you at night. So everyone was supposed to be inside the house. So this first story, I was not it. I was with my friends. There was 4 of us upstairs. We decided to kind of stick together. The others, separated and went their own ways. But we were all up at the top of the stairs hiding, and it's dark, it's pitch black. You can't see nothing, right? So we're just up there hiding and being quiet at the top of the stairs. And next thing we know, this green light, an orb, I didn't know it was called an orb at the time. I would put it at like this big, so like tennis ball sized. It came floating around the stairway to the bottom of the stairs. It was bright, and it was so bright that I could see my friends' faces. We could all see each other's faces from this light. And it stopped at the bottom of the stairs, and it creeped all of us out. We were all screaming. I remember telling my friends to flip the light on. Someone flip the light on, because once you flip the lights on in a haunted house, usually stuff stops, for whatever reason. So one of my friends that was with us, a guy, he was so scared of it, of what we were seeing. He didn't know he was doing it at the time. He was just so freaked out. He was like scratching at my face. Like, I don't know, fight or flight kind of thing. Like, you just don't know what to do. You just want to get out of the situation. So anyway, this orb that started out as a ball, it grew and it got a little wider, probably about this wide. And the best way I can describe it is glitter. So like it got wide, it got super bright where we could all see each other, and then it fizzled out like glitter, like fizzled out, and it was gone. Finally, one of my friends got to the light switch, flipped it on. We were all freaked out. Like, we had to sit back and like assess what we just saw, what just happened. What was it? I don't know. I didn't know what an orb was, at that age. So that was the first really creepy thing that happened during hide and seek in the dark. Now, the second hide and seek in the dark story that I'm going to tell you that will end this story was definitely the creepiest thing that happened to me in my lifetime. But before I get to this one, I'll tell one of those quick little ones that happened along the way, which was also pretty creepy. But I was in my room trying to fall asleep, and this was before my parents divorced, before my mom was gone. And there was a vent in the doorway or in the wall. If you looked out the vent, like you could see the hallway, on the other side. So anyway, I was trying to fall asleep late at night, and something said my name through the vent. It whispered it, and it totally sounded like a female. And it said, Lisa. And I was like, I figured it was someone in the house trying to scare me. And I said, what? And then nothing. And so I just was like, whatever. And I tried to go to sleep. And then a few minutes later, something whispered my name again. So I heard it again. It was like, Lisa. And I was for sure someone was on the other side in the hallway trying to scare me. So I said to it, I said, what do you want? And then I went to try to go back to sleep again. And then the third time, a few minutes later, I heard it again. And it was like, Lisa. So I got up out of my bed and I flew my door open thinking for damn sure someone's going to be on the other side in the hallway speaking through the vent. Nobody was there. I run downstairs. My mom's down there doing dishes. I was freaked out and I told her what I heard. And she's like, no one's home but us. Nobody's here. And my mom wouldn't do that. She wouldn't like trying to scare people like I tried to when I was a kid. So, that was creepy. So, so this hide and seek in the dark story, of course, was after, mom was gone out of the house and I had the house to myself. All the kids were over again. We were playing hide and seek and we were having fun. So I was it this time. And a little history on the house. My dad's bedroom was the original room of the house, so it was the oldest. And it was coincidentally like the creepiest room besides the basement. It was the creepiest room in the house for whatever reason. So I didn't like it. So I'm feeling all around the house, trying to find one of my friends, not finding them. I get to my dad's room and I was like, hey, I said, you guys know I hate this room. So I'm not even going to come in there unless I know for sure one of you are in there. So if you're in there, knock twice. And literally, like right after I said that, I heard it. So I go in the room, not afraid, because I was for sure one of my friends were in there because it responded to me. So I'm feeling around, not finding them, and then I see by the window a shadow ran real fast. So I just figured it was one of my friends. And so I started chasing it, and like I had my arms out and stuff, and I was talking to it, and I was like, like a kid would. I was like, I see you. I said, you're going to be it, and I'm chasing it and it's not, there's nothing, like it's gone. There's nothing there. So I was like, where'd you go? So I turn around and in the doorway stood a tall shadow and it looked like a man. So I felt trapped in the room. I felt like something wanted me in there and it didn't want me out. I don't know. I just felt like I had to get out of that room. And so I wanted to go out of that doorway into the living room so I could flip on all the lights in the living room and see where the hell my friends were at, what was going on. So I decided to brave it up. I didn't really have a choice. I closed my eyes and I ran through the doorway just to get out. And when I did that, like, you always hear people say you have chills. I mean, it's true. Like, it's cold. You have chills. I got chills, like, over my entire body. Just running through that doorway. So I get in the living room. I flip all the lights on. And I'm, like, yelling for my friends. Where are you at? Oh, my God. I'm freaking out. Well, guess where they were all at? They decided that it'd be funny if they all hid on the front porch where I would never find them because you're not supposed to hide outside of the house. That was the rules. So none of my friends were in the house when that happened, and I told them, what I saw, how it happened, and I was like, I'm not playing hide and seek anymore tonight. So we left every single light on in the house that whole night, and I did that many nights there alone because there were lots of nights that it was a lot of activity, but then there were more nights that she didn't have activity. So, out of the 8 years I lived there, I've got a good handful of stories that I can share. But like, it wasn't every day, obviously. If it was every day, I mean, the stories would go on forever. But, yeah, so that happened. I played hide and seek in the dark with a ghost. And I didn't even know it. And just a quick story, an extension of that shadow man, that I'll add to this. So this one was in the daytime, and my cousin was over and we were playing tag, and this is when we were still kids. My mom was still there. So we're playing tag in the day, running around outside, and so I'm chasing my cousin. She ran to the front of the house, and then she comes running back towards me. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you running towards me? I'm it. Like, what's going on? So she told me she saw a shadow man sitting in our rocking chair that we had on the front porch. And I believe it was the same shadow man that I saw in my dad's room. And it was sitting in the rocking chair was right in front of the window by my dad's room. I don't know if that means anything or not, but I believe her, So there was a shadow man there. I don't believe he was the farmer because we had other experiences in the barns where we seen that spirit. We seen what I think was the farmer's spirit. So they looked totally different. I think there was something in the house, possibly two spirits, a female and a male. And there was definitely spirits out in the barns. It was a really creepy place. So anyway, that's my story I'm going to share for now, the hide and seek in the dark. I hope you liked it. I hope you're having a good Halloween season. I'm enjoying a lot of decorations people are putting up in my town. They're like going all out like it's Christmas for Halloween, and I just love that. So I hope you guys are enjoying this spooky season and the stories that I've shared so far, and hopefully I'll have time to maybe pop on and share another one before the 31st. So, all right, see you guys.